All of the grooms and Zoe, all of the brides and Thomas get together collectively. And the experts have given each group a set of questions that they must answer honestly. The men ask the question, first question is, the bride you'd most like to be married to apart from your own. Messy, 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 messy. I say bad question, producers. I thought they'd be questions to improve their own relationships, but I was wrong. Kwame says, Sophie. Sophie is the bride he'd most like to be married to apart from Keisha. Duka says Shanita. He wants what Shanita and Jordan have. Jordan, surprise, said Keisha. And it's because, according to Kwame, Jordan has tasted Keisha's food. He is like her #1 fan. I love it. Jonathan says Shanita. Adrian says George. Ladies and Thomas, the question for them is the groom you'd least like to be married to. Thomas said it would be Matt based on how he's treating Gemma in his opinion. Shanita said Duka based on the fact that Whitney has changed so much of herself because of him and their relationship, and she is not sure if she likes that. And then Gemma says Jonathan, and it upsets Sophie. She begins to cry. The reason Gemma said Jonathan is because she overheard a comment he made about not wanting his partner to gain loads of weight. And this upset Sophie because I'm sure she felt the same way about the comment, but to have someone else verbalize it hit close to home. Jonathan starts talking about Sophie to the men and said that there's something missing in their relationship. There's a spark that he does not have for Sophie yet. He does like her. He does find her attractive, but there are things to work on. The ladies, who wants kids? Sophie says definitely her life will be complete with a baby. Shanita says in about 2 years, she wants to live life first. Keisha, she had her child very young, and she decided that she wants to be married before having any more children. Jenna did mention fostering or adopting. She's open to the conversation. Men are asked, the sexiest partner apart from your own. Why? Why? This is such a terrible question, you guys. Such a terrible question. Like, no one can feel good about this. Kwame says Whitney. Why that's a little bit surprising is because he chose Sophie to be married to, yet he finds Whitney the sexier one. Adrian says Shanita. Zoe says Shanita. And Jonathan says Shanita. Shanita and Jordan are already in a great place. They've overcome the little hurdles they had. And I think this is making it even better for Jordan to see how appreciated his wife is. Woman says, the women are asked, who is the sexiest partner apart from your own? Shanita chose George. Jenna said Keisha. Yo, I feel like it was a real crush. The way Jenna said it, she said it with her like chest. She did. She said Keisha with her chest. I believe her. I believe her. Whitney says Matt, and that makes Gemma feel irrelevant. The fact that Whitney's aware of how Matt's been treating her and she would still pick him. All right, the men are asked, stick or twist? Would you rather stick with your partner or start the experiment again with a new stranger? Jordan, he said obviously it would stick with Shanita. Duka, I was surprised that he would stick with Whitney. I would, if I were him, I would start all over again. Like, it can't get worse. She already wants to leave. Duka. He talks about not giving up, yada, yada, yada. He wants to stick with, that's his business. That's his business. That's his business. Matt, he said a twist. with Whitney. He sure did. Jonathan stick with Sophie, a beautiful girl. George said he was gonna stick with April. I have in my notes, not Tom telling April he's afraid that George is going to be hurt in their relationship. He says, you know, George comes to my apartment and talks to Adrian about the relationship, and based on what I overhear, you're not kind to him and he's a good man. Whitney calls Thomas out for talking over the ladies. And then Keisha tells Whitney that she is special. The women, they are asked who is the fakest couple. Thomas said George and April right away. Calls April the fakest person here. He explodes, calls April a liar. Tom leaves the table, but Tom returns to the table. Thomas is here for the drama and the antics. He's here for the scenes. Shanita is here for a marriage, not someone talking about her. And I have a real question, is Whitney on pills? Because her eyes were way dilated. It was more than just like a mimosa or a cocktail or champagne. I think she's on a substance. I don't want to put that out there if she's not, but I think she looks like it to Neza. Sophie is so funny, is like sitting in this garden on this bench waiting to talk to Jonathan. And she tells Jonathan about how his comments have offended some of these ladies. And Jonathan's upset by this, because according to him, he could care less. If it weren't for the experiment, he would not be spending time with these strangers, so he doesn't really care how they feel. Thomas and Gemma are waiting for Adrian. Thomas calls Whitney a bitch for choosing Matt. Like, that was so mean of her to do that. And he's quote unquote never trusted Whitney. It cuts to Matt talking to Whitney about losing his mom. And I knew it was gonna come up. When he mentioned that, about how he has real things going on in his life and his mom, he's losing his mom, Whitney shares that she has lost her mom. If anything can connect you, unfortunately, sometimes it is grief. It's a loss. It's their first proper conversation. She's not here to settle, and that she has shown herself to Duca. And so, according to Matt, he's not happy in his relationship. Whitney's not happy in her relationship, and he feels some sort of spark. So this is a little bit shady boots. A lot of it, actually. A lot of it. He's a fan of Whitney's, and he's over Gemma, and they have this mom bond, and Whitney already wants to leave. So she already got one foot out the door. She got to hang out one more week. All right, that concludes the review. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in our next review. Bye for now.